Commander Masters. Our community has been raging since the first few spoilers until now as to whether or not this set is a failure or is it an underrated investment opportunity. Now, my personal opinion here is that Commander Masters is an unfortunate miss for what should be a premier set for Commander as a format. But I do think we need to give it a little bit of credit given the average EV value, but we're going to get into that later. I want to first mention where it falls in terms of good sets and bad sets. I think now we have some pretty good examples of what a good set means. Lord of the Rings is a good set and was perceived very positively. Commander Legends 1, Double Masters 2022. Those are all sets that would fit into the very well perceived sets. Modern Horizons 2 is an example. And then you go into sets that were perceived badly. You have the older sets like Gate Crash and Dragon's Maze, and you have newer sets like Baldur's Gate and Commander Masters and Aftermath, right? But why are these sets so hated? Even Baldur's Gate. Some people will say that Baldur's Gate actually had a lot of value, but its timing next to Double Masters 2022 basically ensured that it would fail. I think Commander Masters suffers the same fate. Commander Masters, at face value, if you do not take into account the set boosters, is actually cheaper than Double Masters 2022. It's interesting because you have Cavern of Souls, you have Dockside Extortionist, you have Mana Vault, you have some really amazing reprints in Double Masters 2022. Now, Commander Masters has a ton of $10 to $20 to $30 reprints rather than the upper end being super high. You have this big mid-range that was reprinted. Therefore, you actually get quite a bit of value when you open these packs. Now, the issue was when they announced the lineup, people saw the draft price, that made sense. People saw the collector price, that made sense. And then they saw the set boosters price. And even for draft and collector, in the beginning, some of those prices were super high. We now see most of those prices below distribution. The set booster price was so high that it basically shocked the market and pushed a wave of negativity onto the product, which this might be a good thing for Wizards to understand that there's a ceiling. I gauge the success of a set by how my local LGS handles sales. So our LGS in America, Mystery Cards and Games, sold out of the product. It was typical of every set we have, but we're a heavy Magic store. The store near me that I go to in Korea, my baby's being born in a month, I'm in Korea, my wife's Korean. I know I keep mentioning that every video, but for context, my local game store did not sell, I didn't see a single box sold at release. This is probably the first time I've ever seen that happen. And in the Korean market, they're very price sensitive. And I think at this point people were just like, nah, I'm good. No, I don't need Capture of Jingzhou. I don't need, people do need Jeweled Lotus, but I'll just buy the single. Double Masters 2022 is a different conversation because it was Mana Vault, it was Dockside Extortionist, it was Cavern of Souls. It's these cards that people run in Legacy and Eternal formats, and they're super playable. You can make the same argument for stuff like Dragon and Jeweled Lotus, etc., Scarab God, but those are Commander cards. There's a big difference in my opinion because no one is going out there and buying a playset of Dragons. It just doesn't hit the same way as reprinting Cavern of Souls. Now, one of the big reasons I think Commander Masters is considered a failure is during the spoilers, everyone was holding their breath for Mana Crypt. There's a huge difference between printing Jeweled Lotus, which you can still get in a $120 booster, versus printing the Mana Crypt, which you can only get in above $200 booster boxes from mystery boosters and from any other previous iteration. Super expensive. Double Masters 1 and prior, stupidly expensive, still a $200 card. I think it would have made a lot more sense if they had not done the Lotus and just done the Mana Crypt. Now, if they had included both, that would have been amazing, but for their own business, they probably would have lost the reprint equity there, and the next Master set would have been a very hard sell. I think at this point, they are probably struggling for reprint equity, which is a bit of an issue, but hopefully it's something that doesn't impact the game going forward in terms of collectability. And that kind of leads into the next point is Commander Masters, if you're a Commander player, is actually incredibly successful for you. The singles have become so cheap. Spellseeker, even though it was upshifted to Mythic, is now a $10 card. Even some of the cards, Demonic Tutor that has been upshifted, didn't really budge that low in price, but I think you can get it for like 20 to 30 now. which is fairly good for a Demonic Tutor. It's always going to climb its way back up. Jeweled Lotus you can get for around 60 to 50. So very reasonable prices for what we would consider to be extremely premium cards in Commander. So Commander Masters kind of fulfilled its main goal here, which is make Commander more accessible. A very fun and interesting draft. Unfortunately, it is a bit price prohibitive, and that is the issue here. They should not have announced the set boosters. And if they were going to announce the set boosters, you have to really punch in that value to get people excited for a $400 to $500 product. Interestingly enough, like I said, in the market right now, you can buy all of these products for below distribution. The collector boxes for $170 some places. It's absolutely insane. I still think you should go support your local LGS, and they're probably not selling it for below distribution. But the fact that you can get this product for so cheap, and it does include things like Extended Art Foil Ur Dragons and Jeweled Lotuses that do sell currently between $600 to $1,000 for the textured foil. I don't think that's really going to be going down. I think it's a go out and get it now if you can buy it at a certain price, or if you really enjoy Commander and you want the Extended Art Ur Dragon, you want the Extended Art Urza, etc., etc. There is some serious value in this product. But conclusively, holistically, I think we all have to agree that Commander Masters was a failure of a product. I was going to say is a fail. That sounds a bit rough. It's a bit of a failure of a product, given what it intended to do. And also, this is something I should have brought up in the beginning of the video. Why the F would you ever spoil Doubling Season during the spoilers for Commander Masters for Wilds of Eldraine? I don't understand where the train of thought there works out for anyone, where you're selling a premium set at a premium price, and you're also saying, by the way, the next standard set that you can get for $100, we're printing Rhystic Study, Smothering Tithe, Doubling Season, Bitter Blossom, and a couple of the other cards that you're seeing in Commander Masters. Don't worry about it. It's going to get reprinted anyway. You don't have to buy the set. It's almost as if someone that was a part of WotC internally was like, F CMM, I'm going to take that reprint. We're going to put it into a cheaper set. That's what it feels like. I think this is the first time I've ever seen a high value, high hitting card like Doubling Season spoiled for the upcoming standard set in a premier product that was also, showcasing it as this is going to be a super expensive card, props up the EV value. So Doubling Season got hit double time for sure, and it's getting reprinted in a standard legal set with standard priced boxes. Crazy stuff, if you ask me. That is probably the biggest blunder, and the store owners page, the WPN owners page, has been very, very vocal about how angry they are that even happened. It doesn't really make much sense as a business to say we have this new product, we're charging 4 times more for it, but it has a ton of value. But by the way, if you wait another month, because it is actually coming out in 3 weeks, Wilds of Eldraine, crazy release schedule. If you wait another 3 weeks, you can buy the same card for 1/3 the price. Standard legal set, reprinted into Oblivion. Don't worry about it. Don't buy the premium price product, actually. After they had given it to retailers. After retailers had put in their pre-order numbers. It's a failure of a set because you have stores attempting to dump the product. It is obviously going to be, at least in the short term, a very hard-hit product. But going back to what we mentioned earlier, as an investment opportunity, given Wizards of the Coast has already said they're cutting supply, and I think given a lot of these store owners are fire selling their products, so they're not going to have these big stockpiles of this product like they're doing with Lord of the Rings, I think we will see Commander Masters actually fare pretty well long term. And that's also just saying that Ur Dragon is probably going to go up in value. Okay, Capture of Jingzhou, given this is the first reprint since Portal 3 Kingdoms, is probably going to go up in value once scarcity becomes an issue again for the single. A lot of these cards, some of them like Urza, have been reprinted multiple times. Below the rare slot, Generous Gift, etc. also reprinted a lot of times, including reprints in the Secret Layers. That is kind of the issue here. Everything is getting reprinted into the ground. But as an investment opportunity, I think it's an okay move if you're getting it at the right price, right? So for our gold members, our wholesale members, they were getting those boxes at 184 for collectors. I'm trying to think of what they got draft at. Basically, distribution cost. They were getting them at distribution cost, including set boosters, and I think they're still faring pretty well. But collector boosters did have a moment there where they spiked very low. So investment opportunity, I think, in the 1 to 5 year range. It's not going to be like Lord of the Rings, where I think maybe you should be buying that and holding it right now, given some of these singles are completely warping formats and also beloved by a major IP. So take that as you will. Obviously, I'm not your financial advisor. Do what you think is right. But conclusively, CMM is a failure. I mean, I think across the board it is being treated as such. But, last note here for the video, if you look at the average EV of the packs opened, the average EV for Commander Masters currently is significantly higher than it was for Double Masters 2022 and even Double Masters 1. Now, that is because they reprinted so many $5 to $30 cards in the rare and the mythic slots that you basically will at least be getting a little bit of money when you're opening packs, right? If you're opening an entire booster box, you should be faring okay. And that's what I found when I opened the set boosters. I wasn't ever that angry. I opened an entire case, and I'll be opening another case soon. I didn't have a box that I was like, oh my god, this is like actually terrible. No, I hit Jeweled Lotus, I hit Doubling Seasons, I hit Demonic Tutors. I was pretty happy. I felt like the value was there after opening the entire box. Whereas for something like Double Masters 2022, I think it was a bit more of a gamble. A lot of the value was on the high side. The mid-range didn't really exist as much. And obviously the low range was basically just bulk mythics and bulk rares. Double Masters 2022, I would still consider to be investment grade. It hasn't really been performing well in the market. Nothing really has. We're in a declining market. Keep that in mind if you're going to be buying anything for investment purposes. But CMM, I guess that's where we end it. It is a failure of a set. I think like I said, we have the examples of sets that are really good and that perform well and are perceived very well. And then we have sets that did not perform well and are not perceived well. Even Baldur's Gate, even after Ancient Copper Dragon and all these other cards, Archivist, became super expensive. Baldur's Gate was still being fire sold for, I think the collector boosters were $99 at some point. Even when Ancient Copper Dragon Extended Art Foil was hundreds of dollars, and even the regular one was $60, you could still get a set booster for $59.99 through distribution. So, and I think that might even still be the case. So Baldur's Gate, failure of a set, bad timing, obviously just didn't really work. And Commander Masters, unfortunately, joins that lineup. So what do you think? Comment below. I know a lot of you guys have opinions about this, and I'd love to hear it. What do you think about Commander Masters? Are you more excited for Wilds of Eldraine? Are you skipping Commander Masters? I know a lot of you did skip Commander Masters. And how do you feel about Magic the Gathering right now? I am very optimistic. I love the game. I liked the Pro Tour coming back in paper. Once again, very optimistic. But I know some of you are becoming very tired with the onslaught of new product. And let Wizards of the Coast know. Comment below and show your opinion. And hopefully a Wizards employee watches this and they let the team know. They give their feedback. I'm not going to get too much in that, but we also gave our feedback in the WPN owners group directly to Wizards. Whether or not that actually matters is beyond me. Anyway, Alan from MysteryMTG.com. Hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe and comment below your opinion on Commander Masters. Bye-bye.